Welcome to Your Infinite Health. Are you getting older?
Are you feeling it?
How would you like to do that in reverse?
We're your host,
Dr. Tripp
and Lene.
We've run an integrative medicine practice for 13 years.
Together, we have 60 years of combined experience helping clients.
We've helped tens of thousands achieve success in health and live longer, happier lives.
In this show, we'll cover peer-reviewed and evidence-based integrative approaches to creating the health you've always wanted.
We also share professional experience we see in the field every day.
So if you're ready to feel, look, and live your best life, you're in the right place.
Welcome to Your Infinite Health podcast.
Hey guys, Lene here. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a quiet Thursday morning today. I have decided to let Tripp sleep in because he didn't get in until I don't even know what time because I was passed out from the other office last night. But I'm so excited because I will be interviewing a lady and I'm really excited about bringing her on because she is local to New Orleans, has a great business. Her name is Susan Freeswick and she has Everyday Keto to Go, which is she says it's a strict keto bakery, but she has got some of the most amazing looking baked goods that you would never know were keto friendly. And at Infinite Health, where we're also very strict on carbs, I'm so excited to have her on to share with not only our patients, but also with you, because if you want to live a longer, healthier, happier life, you have to keep those daily net carbs under 30, which can be a little challenging to do in today's food market. So anybody who shows up with a keto-friendly, low-carb option that still looks and tastes amazing is somebody I have to shout out. So without further ado, let's chit-chat with Susan.
So I have Susan Freeswick here. Am I saying your last name right?
You are.
Great.
Congratulations.
So I was sending you the link to come onto the studio and I was putting in your email and I'm like, oh, no, like keto lady. That's so clever.
Yeah.
Is that also your Instagram handle?
It is for my personal, not for the bakery, but it is for my personal, just so I can show more personal images of me, like from beginning of my journey and where I am now and recipes and how we cook at home. And yeah, on a more personal level, but everyone in New Orleans and around here knows me as the keto lady. So I was like, let's go ahead and roll with it.
I love it. So tell us how you ended up being the keto lady, because that's not what you went to school to do, right?
No. My mom got very sick about 10 years ago and we couldn't figure out as a family what was going on. She was in and out of the hospital and I come from a health background, so does my family. But you're always hard to kind of practice what you preach. So we decided as a family, my sister found keto and the keto lifestyle, and my mother had an autoimmune disease, had Hashimoto's. And we didn't realize that she should have been gluten-free and sugar-free 30-something years ago. So my sister presented us with the keto lifestyle and we said, okay, maybe we can heal her from the inside out. And we're a really close-knit family. So we said, okay, let's do this as a family. I dropped 12 pounds in the first week and I was like, whoa. What's going on here? And I had to reprogram my entire brain of thinking that fat is good, that protein is good, that all of these grains and carbs are not so good for my body. And over a few years, lost over 100 pounds. And I know people are like, there's no way. Believe me, I have the pictures. I remember the pant sizes and crying in a dressing room when I couldn't fit into an 18 anymore and had to go to a 22. So I had to teach my father how to cook this way to help care for my mother. And it just kind of snowballed into a whole entire lifestyle. I was very vocal about my journey online and I developed a bread because I'm a Southern girl. I want bread. I want, PB&J and I want toast and
in a roll.
I was missing that. Yeah. Something.
Right.
Not cardboard or air. And I'm a texture person. I limit my diet and I don't eat a lot of things because of texture issues. And so I really wanted the bread to taste and have that texture of bread that you could toast it. And so I went online and a friend simply commented and said, I would buy that. And I thought, well, okay. I come from a catering background, never really thought about this. And so I sold my bread the next day. 3 months later, I was in a king cake challenge. A year later, we won Best Gluten-Free Bakery. 3 years later, we have a storefront. We used to deliver up and down the Gulf Coast. We used to ship. We still ship. But now we have a storefront, and we decided to rebrand because a lot of people don't understand what keto is. They think I have like sliced meat hanging up in the back. And we decided to go a different route when we rebranded, just to push the fact that it's naturally gluten-free, it's naturally sugar-free, and this can appeal to so many other people, lifestyles, dietary restrictions. I'm allergic to chocolate.
That's so sad.
So
my heart goes out to you.
And I work with it every day. And so I know what it's like to have an allergy and be limited. And like I said, I have limitations on my own diet. And so I get it. People come into the bakery now and they talk to us about their diets. And it's a pleasure to be able to offer all of these different varieties of goodies, of baked goods, because it's very comforting to have a baked good, to have a muffin, to have bread. And it's turned into something a lot more than just a bakery. I can tell you that.
For those who don't know, what is keto? I mean, it's a popular term. I feel like it gets thrown out flippantly.
So
there you go.
Misinformation, right? That's the key word. So a ketogenic lifestyle is actually a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet, but it's actually more than that. It's grain-free, it's sugar-free, it's soy-free, oat-free. It is technically yeast-free because you need sugar to activate yeast, but there are different ways that you can go about that. We are a yeast-free bakery as well. So when you take all of those components out, a lot of people get really scared and they say, well, what else can I have? And if you can have a cream sauce with like your baked fish, that's pretty decadent. Last night we had carbonara and steak, and it was pure decadent. And, with I didn't use pancetta, I used bacon, but the noodles that we used, for instance, were not like low carb noodles or gluten-free noodles. We actually used palmini, which is made from hearts of palm. So it yields the same texture, the al dente, and we're not lacking for anything. So it's not just low carb. People love to say, oh, well, you can have certain bars or certain low carb things like tortilla wraps. And it's actually, that's not it. That's not what true keto is. It's not net carbs. It's total. Net carbs for me is kind of cheating. And so keto is so much more than just being low carb. Low carb is low carb. That's not
interesting. Keto. So there is a big difference between keto and Atkins, right?
Very close. Very close. His whole premise was that you needed to be low carb and that you needed to remove certain grains. But I think Atkins was also close to paleo. So paleo is you have natural sugars, like you're able to have honey. But the whole point of keto is that you're trying to maintain your insulin levels. So there's not this constant up and down. And by replacing all of those grains and carbs with healthy fats and proteins, your body starts to literally become this like melting machine, where you're melting the fat from your body. I never thought in my life that I would have the body that I do now. I always thought that I was a big girl, and it completely changed my physique.
Wow.
It's remarkable.
It's a great story. I know at Infinite Health, we're, for somebody who's coming in, one of the things that we do right off the bat, and it's probably one of the things that most people struggle with, is keeping their carbs. For us, it is net. Most people identify with net. So for starting out, if somebody's interested in losing weight, it's 30 net carbs per day, no more than that. I think if they're trying to maintain, I think generally it's like 60 net.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like nutrition gets overcomplicated. And
it really does. And, something that we love to promote, at least at our bakery and just in my own lifestyle, it's whatever works for you. I am very strict with my diet and my lifestyle, and it's because I want to be preventative. I do not want to have these different diseases that run in my family. So it's important for me, as the mom, as the everything in my family, to keep my health, and to be really strict about it. Now, when my husband goes out the house, is he completely gluten-free?
If there's no pictures, it didn't happen.
It's whatever works. Right. Right. And he also has an autoimmune disease. And I'm just like, you're supposed to be gluten-free and dairy-free. And, he wants to have his little,
right.
tortillas and whatever. And it's whatever works with your lifestyle. So a lot of people will come in and they say, okay, well, I'm not keto, but I am low carb. And I say, that's okay too. It's whatever works with your lifestyle. It's one of the reasons why I think diets typically fail for people, because they're not looking at it as a huge picture. They're looking at it as a way to get to their goal, and then they don't have to do anything else, when you actually need to change your whole way of thinking, your
also,
lifestyle,
I think
everything.
the word diet, when you hear that word now, you automatically feel restricted.
Negative.
And like you can't
Sure.
do this, can't have that, can't. And,
right.
That in itself puts you in a state of resistance, I think. And some of us are rebels.
Yes.
Don't like feeling in resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people ask me, do you have cheat days? And I tell them, no, I don't. I don't have cheat days. What I do have are higher carb days. So if I want to indulge, then, typically it's on Sundays. Those are my family days. So I actually get to sit down and have meals with them, because, otherwise I'm running around, and I'll have, higher carbs. I'll eat more fruit, and I'm still within my keto lifestyle. I'm just going to be a little more lenient on it and just have more carbs. But then the next day I pick right back up, and, I go up and down. Women can gain 5 pounds overnight, So I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I go up and down just like every other woman, but I know the tools to kick my body back into what I need to be. And sometimes, if I get ready for an event, then I will, get even more strict, and I will incorporate even more intermittent fasting, because I do intermittent fasting as well, in order to, drop extra pounds that I might have that I don't want for a particular event, or like photo shoot or whatever.
Cool.
So
yeah.
I know what to do.
So what your mom, how did her Hashimoto's resolve just with the nutritional component? Like, how did that work out for her?
We did notice an improvement, but she was eventually diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. So it's a type of dementia that affects all cognitive function. And we even tried, we kept her on the keto lifestyle. Unfortunately, she passed. And so my sister and I and my father decided that, we really wanted to continue with this lifestyle. My father lost 47 pounds. His doctor and everyone started saying, Doug, do you need to tell us something? And he said, no, he ended up getting off of gout medicine, cholesterol medicine, blood pressure medicine. He has a pacemaker. So he's on one medication because he has sick sinus syndrome, but he still maintains the lifestyle, 10 years later, and he's 78, that should say something. So, unfortunately it was too late for my mom, but it's not too late for us. And so that's why we want to continue, with the lifestyle, because we've seen the results of it.
It's really amazing what a simple shift in nutrition and being mindful about what goes in the body and how that can have such a positive or negative, impact on all the systems in the body. It's such an easy thing to take control of, so it's just very interesting. Because you said you're doing intermittent fasting. Are you on a regimented cardio and HIIT or any exercise kind of thing, or no?
Yeah. People are going to hate me.
Yeah, no.
I only do intermittent fasting, and I run around enough. And honestly, the between, my daughter and I actually help run my husband's company as well, as running the bakery and cooking everything. So, I know probably your schedule too, how busy you are, and, that running around, dance with my daughter and
Mhm.
we're very active, but I don't do any type of cardio. I don't do any weightlifting or anything like that. At the beginning, when I started, I did do a lot of cardio and I did do a lot of weightlifting. I think weightlifting is really important for women to gain that muscle mass because
Mhm.
muscle also helps burn fat. But if you maintain it, then you don't really, for
Yeah.
me, you don't have to do so
Yeah.
much.
Well, my husband always said abs are made in the kitchen, and I'd much rather be in the kitchen than sweating.
Exactly. And it's actually true. If you talk to, any trainer, it's what you take in. And that in itself, that you, like you were saying, you can have so much control over what you put into your body
Mhm.
and the outcome of it. It outweighs anything. It's so I'm not lacking for anything. I don't need to have cheat
Well,
days
also,
because
I
they're
think
not
when
needed.
you get your system, when you get that, it's
Hmm.
that gut flora, right? Once you get that system
Yeah.
optimal, you don't
Hmm.
crave those things that don't
Right.
serve you. So you don't need a cheat day because, like, it's not even something that should be
Exactly.
coming to your
Exactly.
mind because your system has gotten normalized or optimized or whatever the right word is.
Right. No, absolutely. When people that decide to go and start a ketogenic lifestyle, I've kind of heard all over the spectrum of it's really difficult or I got the keto flu. And I said, actually, yes, it feels like the flu. I said, but what you realize is that, or what you don't realize is that
Mhm.
your body is actually detoxing itself like a drug addict because sugar, carbs, all of that hits the same pleasure point in your brain that drugs do. So that in itself should tell you the kind of hold that sugar and these types of foods have over your body. And once you get that flushed out of your system, there's not one person I've ever met that has said, "Oh, I don't feel good now." No, you feel great.
Right.
You feel incredible. You have more energy. You're able to, it's almost like your focus is clearer.
Yeah.
It affects
So
everything.
cool. So what is
Yeah.
what is your best-selling item?
Ooh, that's difficult. It depends on the season, really. But we have a lot of customers that call up and they say, well, do you have grab and go items? And I tell them, I know it's really hard to kind of grasp, but we're a full service bakery. So we have cupcakes, cheesecakes, pedophores. So here in New Orleans,
Mhm.
we know what a pedophore is. It's a little cake. We have pastries like bagels, donuts, danishes. We have
Wow, you have
scones. We
all
have
the
muffins,
things.
brownies. We have 8
What?
types of French breads. We have sweet breads. Yes. We have focaccia, sourdough, different French breads that we stuff with
I'm
garlic and
getting off of
herbs
this
and all these different
podcast and coming
things.
to see you is
Um,
what I'm doing.
but it's shocking, and we have dairy free and vegan
Wow.
options too. So it's, when you come in and when you have been leading a life that you haven't been able to have these things, and when you walk into the bakery and we have to take a step back just for all the choices, but our cheesecakes, any of our pastry goods, and our breads, I mean, that's what we're known for. My first product was our sandwich bread, and that led to eventually to French breads, and to have a po'
Mm.
boy after you
Oh
haven't
yeah, I
had
haven't
one
had a
for
po'
so
boy. I
long.
can't read. It's years.
Yeah, yeah. So it's always fun to see. And then we get our little guys in, we get the little
Mm.
juvenile diabetics in, after maybe they've gone to see their endocrinologist and their parents will treat them to a happy, to come into the bakery and they get to choose everything.
Aw.
That makes my entire day. To see the little guys be able to eat. And then we have more health conscious moms that come in and say, you get to choose whatever you want. And they know that they don't have to feel bad about it because they don't know it's not sugar.
I mean,
They
you're
don't
doing
know
it
it's healthy for
right.
them.
You must
I'm
be
not
doing
going to
it
say
right if
anything.
if a child can't tell the difference. Because, a lot of that stuff in the
Yep.
grocery store is just, I think I bought keto bread once and my kids were like, watch what happens when you put
Mhm.
the butter on it. It just
No.
slides right off like silicone. Stop buying this, Mom.
Right, right. Well, and our products are all clean ingredients. You recognize every single ingredient that is in every product. And once you start taking out all of the bad and you keep all of the good, what we can do with it, depending on, we use coconut and almond flours, just because it is keto based. So we're not going to use rice flour or anything like that. And there are some products that have just coconut and some products that have just almond, because it's all about the texture. So it's pretty shocking. I've seen a grown man tear up because he hasn't had a donut in 15 years and he can finally have some. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yep. So that's why I'm saying it's more than just a bakery when you can change someone's life like that. And you can give them something that brings them so much joy,
right,
as a donut. Who knew?
Yeah, you don't think about it until that shows up, and right.
Until you can't have it. Right.
Did I read somewhere that you were expanding, though, past baked goods into other culinary avenues, or was I daydreaming?
Nope. I come from a catering background. And so I've been cooking since I was in college or before that. A lot of people, we do stuffed sandwiches now. So to have more savory items, we make crawfish rolls. So, here in New Orleans, we're known for our crawfish bread. Well, we said, okay, let's put it into like a pastry, and it looks basically like a crawfish king cake, but it is stuffed full of crawfish and cream and cheeses and all the good, And so to have something like that, we do pizza rolls, we do pizza crusts. So we're expanding on that. So people can kind of come in, grab and go, maybe sandwiches. I still do private catering on the side. And, if someone wants to have a special dinner one night, then I can actually come in and cook for you. Yeah. So I just, fitting that into the rest of I have a 12-year-old, and her schedule keeps me very busy.
I understand that. Yesterday, I had to go to City Park to watch the 14-year-old race and pick him up, and that traffic. And the day before that, had to take the 17-year-old to a music. Like we're just glorified chauffeurs. Yes.
So you feel my pain. We really are. And I bring books, or I bring my notebooks, so I can sit there and jot down ideas, because I get ideas all the time. One of the things that I absolutely love is for someone to come to me with a recipe that maybe their nonna gave them or their yaya gave them, and to take that recipe and transform it into something healthy that they can have. That's my heart. My daughter is half Greek, and so I cook a lot of Greek baked goods. I cook a lot of Greek food. My husband is Romanian, and so I've been dabbling into the Romanian goodies and Latin. We've done Egyptian and Arabic.
Over there.
We've done. Oh, I make it once a year. So, because there's no such thing as a gluten-free phyllo dough, so I have to create my own, and the process for that is something. And baklava has a honey sauce. So how do you mimic honey? Yeah. Well, I tell people, how do you, they ask me, how do you do this? And I say, love and magic. That's it. I'm a magician back there. I'm part scientist, part magician to have to come up and recreate these flavors. So we've recreated a brother and sister. They actually come in and they grab our red velvet pedophores. And it's because their mother used to make it, and they gave me the recipe, and I was like, let me work on this. We're going to get this. And right now I'm working on some, the St. Joseph altar cookies, the Italian fig cookies.
Okay.
We're working on those to recreate it with no figs.
Interesting. It's like you're like the house. You're like the house of the keto baked goods. It's the puzzle. Yeah. Differential diagnosis on this fig Newton.
I mean, I love a challenge. So I've actually been working on a type of Latin cake for about a year now. I don't have it yet. I keep, throwing it out, and people are like, no, I'll eat it. And I'm like, nope, it's not good. I'm throwing it out. But a tres leche cake. So it's, yeah. So, and we even do, like during the holidays, we do churros, we do different Greek cookies and Romanian cookies, and it's so much fun to have all those flavors and work with it. There's actually a Greek bed called choreki, and it has a spice in it that we don't know here in the United States. So it's really fun to be able to recreate those,
That sounds exciting. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I'm glad you do. I'll just come to you.
Yeah, right. Come to me with it all. Yeah. And we've done, there was a cake that one of our followers came to me and she messaged me on Instagram and she said, my yaya used to make this and it's the Croatian torta. And I was like, well, hold on. A torta is something like from Spain. And she said, no, this is how we do it. And I said, okay, well, show me the recipe. And so we went back and forth. And I kept asking questions like, what about the flavor here? And what about the flavor here? And we were able to make it. And she said, it was just like nice. She made it. Yep. So I love the challenges and to make people happy. Generally other cultures don't have anything sugar-free, anything healthy. Their bakeries are filled with creams and honeys and sugar, and to be able to recreate that, it's amazing.
I mean, you're so niche. I don't know anybody else that is doing that.
No, we're Louisiana's first gluten-free, sugar-free, low-carb bakery.
I bet you might even be the first in the South.
That's also exciting. I believe so, because when at the beginning I was traveling up and down the Gulf Coast delivering to people. Like I would go to Alabama, to Mississippi, to Florida. I didn't go to Georgia, but we went up and down the Gulf South delivering. People would order in big groups and we would have meetups. And I'm like, hey, I love a good road trip. Let's go.
A pop-up shop. So you're not doing that now though, are you?
Sure. No. Unless it's a special event, like a wedding cake, something like that, because we do wedding cakes, groom's cakes, we do it all. So, to a lot of people say, oh, well, the bride is keto or she's diabetic. Maybe it's just for her. And I'm like, why don't we just make the whole cake and then let people see what healthy can be about? So yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
So do you have an online shop as well as your local shop?
We do have a website, but because we change flavors so often, because of season, because of my mood, quite frankly, it's what I see is fresh at market, or, these blackberries look good this week, so let's go ahead and do something with that. So it's very hard to keep. We have over 70, 80 products. So it's very hard to keep it up to date. So we just would rather have people call the bakery and say, hey, what do you have today? What's your special today? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yep.
So what is that website? Where can people find you? everydayketo2go.com. Easy. Write it down, listener. Anything else that you want the listeners to know? Any takeaways, any tidbits?
Come in and visit and see what we're all about, and let me try to change your mind about healthy goodies. Because I bet I can. And that's kind of our whole purpose. It's not just about, that we're good for diabetics, that we're good for celiac, that we're good for autoimmune, that we're good for keto, for all these different lifestyles. It can be for everyone. You just need to come in and, be open about it. We've had people come in and say, well, I like my gluten and sugar. We say, okay, well, you're probably in the wrong spot. But,
why are you here?
But try one thing, and I bet that would be the one thing that will change your mind about it. That, you can actually have healthy goodies that taste delicious.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep. And keep up to date on our social media, because we always post things.
What did you say?
And we try to post Everyday Keto to Go.
Okay.
On Instagram and Facebook. And then my personal is Nola Keto Lady, but we also do parfaits. So we have banana pudding parfait that has no bananas in it. Wow. You would never know it. That is crazy. It's crazy. So we make everything in-house, our jams, our puddings, our curds, even our chocolates, we actually make in-house. It starts out as completely unsweetened vegan chocolate, and we switch it whichever way we want it to go.
I'll be seeing you later today. Cool. Well, Susan, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing with everybody that you don't have to feel restricted, that there are happy, healthy, tasty alternatives out there.
Yeah, and it's exactly, especially in our town, when we're such a foodie town, come in and let us try to change your mind. We have, creme brulee. We have all the different, like praline and cream, and we have the French breads, and we have all of that. And it's fun to be able to watch people's eyes go to everything and say, okay, I came in for one thing and now I'm going to get 12. That's okay.
I'm not complaining.
You can do that too. Don't feel guilty about it.
No guilt.
There's no guilt.
Love it.
No judgment.
Love it. Awesome. Well, listener, I hope you found this informative, educational, a little bit entertaining. And until next time.
Thanks for subscribing to Your Infinite Health. I'm Dr. Tripp.
And I'm Lene. Until next time, feel it, look it, and live it.